My grandmother left me a rusty storage locker instead of an inheritance. What I found inside destroyed a billionaire's empire. My grandmother left me a rusty storage locker instead of an inheritance. What I found inside destroyed a billionaire's empire. When my grandmother died, everyone in the family expected a fight over money. There was just one problem. Grandma wasn't rich. At least that's what we thought. She spent her entire life working as a school librarian. She drove the same old car for 20 years. She lived in a tiny house, wore discount store clothes, and somehow managed to make every birthday feel magical despite having almost nothing. So when she passed away at 89, nobody expected a major inheritance. What nobody expected was for Grandma to leave me something so strange that the entire family laughed. A storage locker. Not money, not jewelry, not property, a storage locker. Unit 317, 3 miles outside town. My cousins couldn't stop joking about it. Maybe she left you old furniture, or a box of newspapers, or 20 years of junk. Even I thought it was weird. But Grandma wasn't weird. She was intentional. Everything she did had a reason. So 3 days later, I drove to the storage facility and unlocked the door. The moment it rolled open, I knew something was wrong. Because the locker wasn't filled with junk. It was filled with filing cabinets. Dozens of them, neatly labeled, organized, cataloged, thousands of documents. My grandmother had spent years building whatever this was. Then I found a note taped to the first cabinet. My name was written on the front. Inside was a single sentence. If you're reading this, I'm trusting you to finish what I started. My heart started racing. Finish what? I opened the first drawer, and everything changed. The documents weren't random. They all revolved around one man, Victor Kane, a billionaire. One of the richest men in the country, owner of a massive development company, national celebrity, philanthropist, business genius, and apparently the target of my grandmother's 20-year investigation. At first I thought she was obsessed, or maybe confused. Then I started reading land records, property sales, court filings, witness statements, financial transfers. The deeper I looked, the worse it became. Victor Kane's company had quietly taken over dozens of low-income neighborhoods. Families lost homes, businesses disappeared, entire communities vanished, legally. Or so it appeared. Then I found the first twist. Many of the signatures authorizing those sales belonged to people who were already dead. My stomach dropped. The documents suggested massive fraud. Not one mistake, not one accident. A system, a machine, operating for decades. But why would my grandmother investigate this? Then I discovered another file, and suddenly everything became personal. 30 years earlier, my grandfather lost the family farm. According to official records, he sold it willingly. According to Grandma's files, the documents were forged. The farm eventually became part of Victor Kane's real estate empire. Everything connected back to him. My grandfather spent years trying to fight it, then died before proving anything. Grandma never stopped, not once. For 30 years she collected evidence. Quietly, patiently, like a librarian building a catalog. Then came the second twist. The evidence wasn't enough. Not yet. Grandma knew it too. Inside the final cabinet was another letter. This one included instructions, a bank account number, a safety deposit box, and a name, a journalist. Apparently Grandma had spent years preparing for the day she died, and she knew exactly what needed to happen next. The journalist nearly laughed when I first contacted him, until he saw the documents. Then he stopped laughing. Within weeks, investigative reporters became involved. Lawyers became involved. Federal agencies became involved. Suddenly people who had ignored complaints for years were paying attention. And then the biggest twist happened. A former executive from Victor Kane's company came forward. Not because of the investigation, because he recognized my grandmother's work. Apparently she had secretly been sending evidence to whistleblowers for years. She was the reason multiple people tried exposing the company. Nobody knew her name, but they all knew the anonymous source. The old woman had been fighting a billionaire empire from her living room for decades, and she almost won. Almost. The new witness finally completed the puzzle. The documents proved a massive pattern of fraud stretching back 40 years. Billions of dollars, thousands of victims, entire communities destroyed. Victor Kane denied everything publicly. Then investigators executed search warrants. Then executives started resigning. Then criminal charges arrived. And then the empire collapsed. The same man who appeared on magazine covers. The same billionaire politicians loved. The same businessman everyone admired. Gone. The story became national news. For months reporters asked the same question. Who uncovered this? Who exposed one of the biggest corporate scandals in decades? The answer wasn't a lawyer, or a politician, or a famous journalist. It was a retired librarian. My grandmother. A woman everyone underestimated. A woman people barely noticed. A woman who refused to give up. The most incredible moment came a year later. A public park opened on land that had once belonged to my grandfather's farm. At the entrance stood a bronze plaque, not with Victor Kane's name, not with a politician's name, with Grandma's, Margaret Ellis, the librarian who never stopped looking for the truth. Every time I visit that park, I think about that rusty storage locker, the one everyone laughed at, the one that looked worthless, because sometimes the greatest inheritance isn't money. Sometimes it's a mission, and sometimes one determined grandmother can accomplish what entire governments couldn't. What would you have done after opening that storage locker? Was Grandma right to spend 30 years chasing the truth? Comment below what you think.